Now my question to you folks is, a lot of us have a huge food pantry. How many of you folks out there have a medical pantry outside of what's, let's say, in your medicine cabinet? And now, just to be frank, medicine cabinets are a great space to have some of your medical preps in. But the biggest issue with this, a lot of times they're located in a bathroom. Inside of a bathroom is a lot of humidity. And with the humidity comes degradation of a lot of medicines that you put in there. Unless you have some sort of specific specialized medicine cabinet, most of us folks don't. We just have a standard medicine cabinet. So to expand on that, what I'm going to be doing and talking about here today is a medical pantry. But hopefully out of this video, you'll garner some ideas that you can see what I'm doing here in the initial stages of me building this pantry. Again, I want to reiterate that this is the initial stage. This is something I'm working on over the past few weeks, and I plan on expanding. And I'll explain what I have and why I have certain things in the medical pantry. And then I'll also show you what I'm working with in the aspect of my backstock and trying to figure out what I want to put here and make readily accessible to folks in my home, specifically my family or myself, and trying to get things and keep an idea on what we have stock of, what we don't have stock of. So what I've done here, and we're going to get up close and personal with this whole shelf here, but what I've done here is I've made certain sections per se, right? Certain bins with certain items. And with those items, I put a few things in them to kind of give you guys an idea, but I have a lot more stuff to fill. But a lot of you folks have been waiting for this video to kind of see what I have, and have requested to kind of me show you what I'm building in regards to a medical pantry. There's going to be a variety of things. Some things may work for you. Some things may work well for me. Some things may not work well for anyone that I stock. That's why everything is open to perception. And the reason I say that is because what I perceive is going to work well for me and my family in that aspect may not work for you and your family. Maybe you have specific needs in your family. Maybe you have diabetics. Maybe you have folks that are on oxygen. Maybe you have folks that have specific medical needs and medications that they need to have, or they have allergic reactions to certain medications. That being said, eventually what I want to have is a clipboard associated with this, that if there is anybody that has a specific blood type, specific allergy, specific whatever it may be, that prevents them from getting specific types of medical care, I want that to be readily accessible, specifically for everybody that lives in my home or someone that's close to me like my father that comes to this house on a regular basis. So if something happens in that time frame, we can always use what's on this shelf. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the shelves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys over to the shelf. We'll kind of go over each shelf and what I have on it. We'll talk about expiration dates, best buy dates. Mostly it's expiration dates when it comes to medicine. How some things can beyond medicine dates. And what I suggest folks, to stop everyone before we get any further is please, 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 with any medications or anything that I'm discussing, don't take my word for it. Follow up with research. Research on your own. Research if you have a doctor that you're friends with, nurses, EMTs, anybody who may deal with specific types of medical gear or medications and stuff like that. Please talk to them and also reference some of the information they have. The more well-educated and the more knowledge we have, the better for us, and the better for us treating certain things in an emergency. All right, so before we begin, in regards to going through everything in here, I had an additional light here to shine some light on some of the things we're talking about. You may see some production stuff like this light here, just because this room has no specific light or natural light. It's usually kept very dark, very cool, because again, this is my food pantry as well. That's always being worked, and we're always doing stuff in here in regards to adding, removing, and labeling and all that kind of stuff like that. So we have additional lights for this video specifically. And again, as we go through things, you're going to see certain things like this that I have here that's not sealed. I'll open those up so that you can see what's inside. Now, again, I want to reiterate, folks, this is just what I've done in the last couple of weeks, trying to organize and get things situated. So I'll explain here. This is how before is how I used to have all my medical preps. They're in all these things here, right here, are all filled with medical gear, medications, anything like that. So I've been trying to take stuff out of that and add it to the shelf here so that we can have a working medical pantry outside of just digging through bins and containers that we have in there. This is closet is another thing that I'm working on, just because we have lots of different things in here in regards to emergency preparedness. One thing I do that I don't have in a medical shelf that I'll bring attention to you folks is if you look back there, those are all antibiotics back there. Those are all different antibiotics. You guys have seen I've done some reviews on one. Matter of fact, that blue in there I still have to do a review on that I want to go over with you because it has a really cool medication in there that I don't want to discuss today, but I'll discuss in that review. And then there's just some overflow of supplements and vitamins and stuff like that. Anyways, enough of me rambling on. You guys probably want to see the goodies, right? So as you can see, I guess I'll start at the top shelf here because this is also my office. You know, I got to have a space for stuff to do my work in. So you're going to see some random stuff like some power stations that I got here and there. Emergency power is always good. And just some random stuff. I do have a grabbable first aid kit and stuff like that. I have some medications that I got to put and find a spot for. This is something that I gave away to my viewers a while back for Christmas of 2021. That was a lot of fun. I still have a couple of them left. Just their ornaments for your Christmas tree for folks that wanted to support the channel. And oh, some folks may be wondering, and you know, I'm going off topic here, but this was the first card that I ever got from Alaska Prepper when I think I won a silver coin or something like that. And it's just memorabilia. Anyways, all right. So as you can see, I've put labels on everything because I wanted to make it as easy as possible for anybody to understand what's inside these bins. So we're going to start on this shelf here. And like I said, if you guys have any ideas or suggestions, because this is in its infancy as we're building this, I would love to hear from you down in the comments, things that I could add, things that you think that, you know, suggestions of medications and stuff like that. I would love to hear from that because I'm also really heavily into medicinal stuff, you know, like the things that grow out in the wild. But, you know, having this stuff is definitely going to be beneficial to any of you folks out there in emergency preparedness. All right, so let's talk about this. Allergies, all different types of allergies. There's very different types of allergy medications. Again, when I talk about, you know, long-term storage, I like to keep them in the original packaging until they're open. Sometimes, depending on what it is, I will seal it in additional packaging if it needs to be. But see how this is? These are not the capsules like that have liquid in it. These are the tablets, and tablets have such an extreme long shelf life versus other things. Medications is one of those things that we talk about that there's a lot of controversy in regards to shelf life of specific types of medication. And that's why I suggest you folks do your own research, because there's certain things that I may, you know, keep for 10 years and other folks may say, well, I don't think that's going to work for you. But I've done a lot of research, and a lot of you folks have been following for quite some time, know my background, and like I said, please just follow up on further research, look around, educate yourself on stuff like this. I'm sorry I keep interrupting the video in regards to that. I just want folks to go further with this. All right, so moving on to cough drops. Depending on if you like the Ricola cough drops, if you like, you know, Manuka honey, which is awesome stuff right there, folks. If you can get your hands on some good Manuka honey, that is the way to go. And there's more cough drops back there in this bin. All right, so let's move over to the ouchies and boo-boos and Band-Aids and stuff like that. There's never enough little Band-Aids. I don't know if you guys can see in there. There's all different types of Band-Aids, all different types of size of Band-Aids, waterproof Band-Aids, butterfly closures, you know, just different types of them. And having a, you know, some of these are like little care packs that have like multiple size Band-Aids, because there's a Band-Aid for everything. And it's nice to have a variety of Band-Aids that's going to be beneficial to whatever cut or abrasion that you may have, that a Band-Aid is going to solve the issue. All right, burns. Outside of, let's say, having some aloe vera or something like stuff like that, which ironically some of this stuff will have aloe vera in it, but having different types of burn sprays, burn gels, and then moving into eye care. As you can see, it's very barren at the moment. I've been throwing things in here as I've been going through the bins. Anything from, like, say, eye drops to, let's say, an eye patch. These are things that I find. I have a lot more eye stuff. I actually have a huge bin of eye stuff. Some saline solution in case folks have contacts, but saline solution can be used for a lot of different things outside of just that. All right, moving on to over here where we have stomach medicine. Stomach medicine is a big one because who wants to have an upset stomach in the apocalypse, right, folks? Anyways, stomach medicine can, you know, include anything from, like I said, back there you got some Tums, you got some Pepto, you got some milk and magnesia, What do we got here? We got some anti-diarrheals in here. Let me see. What do you got? Some stool softeners. And some stuff people don't like to talk about because, you know, it's personal, but, you know, it is what it is. And then outside, because this stuff will only last so long, you know, this stuff here in a liquid form. So I also like to buy caplets and stuff like that. Having all kinds of stuff for your stomach and ailments, be it gas relief, be it, you know, upset stomach, IBS, all that kind of stuff like that. Laxatives, stool softeners, you know, anything for that nature is going to be in this thing. As you can see, I have a little bit of an overflow because I'm trying to figure out what I want to put in here, a little bit like one of each thing or maybe two of each thing in this bin and kind of go from there. All right, medical tape. Medical tape is always a fun one. And what I mean by medical tape is it's a fun one because there's so many different types of medical tape when it comes to this genre. They all have a specific purpose. I'm not going to go through all that because, again, this is going to be a long video already. But there's different types of medical tape that you can use. Large medical tape, small medical tape, different gripping types of medical tape. All back there. You can find all kinds of different medical tape. And it doesn't really go bad, you know what I mean? Some medical tape, if you want to keep it sterile, keep it sealed up in its original packaging. Other medical tape that you may use for other types of bandages that don't have to worry about being sterile, you can just kind of throw in a bin. Alcohol prep pads. Again, with alcohol prep pads, I keep a ton of them because if you're trying to use, you know, to clean an area, or before you do something, you want to clean that area so it doesn't get infection. You can use alcohol prep pads. They come in handy for a lot more things than just that. But if you know any diabetics and stuff like that, these are very important. But just in general, if you're going to do any type of injection site, you might want to, you know, clean that area very, very well. Even if you think it might be sterile because you wash your hands. Hand sanitizer. Remember when hand sanitizer was like this thing that everybody couldn't get enough of? We have different types of hand sanitizer and there were different brands. Sometimes we'll just pick up things at the Dollar Tree or the dollar store, or they'll be on sale. But at one point, it was like so hard to find hand sanitizer. I kind of like some of the sprays and stuff like that. But folks, I would suggest that you don't use this on a daily basis because you need bacteria in your life. Because there's good bacteria, there's bad bacteria. But in order for your body to build an immune system, if you use this stuff every single day, you know, 20, 30 times a day, you're kind of hurting yourself versus doing something good for yourself. Moving on to some creams, hydrocortisone creams. I got a bunch of different brands in here. I threw a few in here. This one is kind of, I've been trying to figure out where I want to do this. I'm thinking about doing a foot bin, as I don't have a foot bin because foot health is very important as well. I have a lot of different things for foot or feet in general. So I think like this antifungal cream, I might go in that area, but who knows? I haven't decided yet. It's just one of the things that I had mixed up with these over here. But hydrocortisone cream, as you guys probably know, a lot of you folks probably are familiar with a lot of these things, these itch relief, you know, if you get bug bites and little things like that. Here in Florida, we have nasty fire ants, mosquitoes, and just lots and lots of different no-see-ums. And this comes in handy, and having a lot of it helps out. A triple antibiotic ointment. Most triple antibiotic ointment is good unopened for about 3 years. You can, you know, like I said, you can, as they call it, fact checking these days, you can do the whole fact check thing. But most of the stuff will be good for about 3 years. There can be some adverse reactions to certain people if they use expired antibiotic ointment, just to kind of throw that in there. All right, so moving down here, we have pain relief. And this can come in the form of like, you know, little patches and stuff like that. I don't know how many of you guys have had little aches and, you know, things in your backs, your neck, your feet, wherever it may be. You can use stuff like that. Aspirin, some people might have an allergic reaction to one of the two. So I have a mixture of stuff like this, from the aspirin to acetaminophen to the ibuprofen. I always buy the big ones because for me, this lasts for quite some time. And you can fill up the small bottles and either in your go bags, your personal bags, you know, if the wife has a purse, things like that. I kind of threw this one in here. This is a cold pack. It probably shouldn't be in here. I got some BC powder in here because my daughter likes to use this. It works good for her. But I have a whole case of that, and I just didn't see the sense of just pouring all that in here. But who knows? Like I said, we have stuff to move forward. All right, so let's talk about cough and cold. That's kind of why I have these thermometers here. There's different types of thermometers, but I prefer the old school. But these are here as extras. This is going to include all your cough and cold medications, some of your immune defense powders. There's all different types of stuff. Good old classic Robitussin, Tussin as they like to call it. We even have some of these Theraflu things, these packs that you can put in the little pods that you put into the Keurigs and whatnot. Capsules, like I said, I'm not a big fan of capsules. I prefer, or liquids, to be honest with you. The capsule form or the tablet forms are usually the best. And stuff like that that's going to be in the cough and cold section. And then right next to it, the reason I kind of have the nasal stuff, because usually if you have a, if you have a cough or a cold, usually you have different things and issues going on with your nasal cavity. I put these, I love this stuff here, the Vicks Vapor Rub, be if it's generic or not. My wife picks these things up too. She loves this brand here, which is the Chest Rub by Badger. There's some Afrin in there, some nasal strips. I'm trying to see what else we got floating around here. Actually, this came from Mitten. If you know who you are, remember he gave this to me. I've done a lot of research on this, and there's a lot of great facts behind this this thing here. There's a lot of different companies that are actually doing that now. Some squeeze bottles, some sinus washes and stuff like that. There's one back there as well. Then I go over here. Masks, and these are probably, maybe you can find them nowadays, but I remember when the mask epidemic, everybody's wearing masks. They wore the really stupid masks, from my personal opinion, I guess. But these are real N95s. I have a friend of mine that does surgical work. I'm not going to put him out there, but he'll get me the really good stuff from the actual surgical department. I probably should vacuum seal these instead of putting them in there. Surgical tools. This is, I don't know, I don't tell anybody, this is for small surgical stuff. I'm going to open up one of these packs and kind of show it to you really fast. All right, I opened this up here so you can kind of see what's in it. This is just kind of like a small surgical kit. There's another one. I have a major surgical kit that's huge. It won't fit on the shelf. It's just something that I've invested my time and money into, just because in case I ever in a situation where I know a surgeon, which I do, that happens to be in my mag or my group, they'll have the tools in case they don't have the tools. But this is just a generalized surgical kit. And I say it's for minor surgeries. Don't go and cutting someone open if you don't have a clue what you're doing. And make sure that you have the other additional accessories that you would need to kind of, let's say, remove something out of underneath someone's skin or whatever that minor surgery may be. All right, moving over to the next one here. These are sutures. There's all kinds of sutures in here, from silk to nylon. There's different types of size sutures. I just keep tons and tons of sutures. Even the little emergency laceration closers. I keep stapler removers in here, and as well as staplers, skin staplers. I did a review video on the skin stapler before. It's very easy to use once you understand the process and how it works. They can come in handy. There's reasons why you would use a suture versus a stapler in certain instances, but having a bunch of this stuff on hand to close the wound it could be very important. Moving over here, this is going to be IV equipment. I'm going to just really touch on it really quick because most folks probably won't be having a basket of IV equipment sitting in their medical pantry, but if you do, it's always beneficial to have, because administering medications or administering fluids and whatnot through an IV is going to be very important to some folks. But there's just a bunch of different IV stuff in here to start IVs and IV small kits. This is just some of the things I have. Some flushes in there. Like I said, having the right contacts can get you some of this gear, and you can also find some of it online as well. These are some nasos that I have in here, some extra nasos. I've noticed they're sitting in there as well. I don't know why they're, as well as some of the other needles and whatnot. A lot of stuff in there, but I don't want to go too deep into that because a lot of folks are very, unfamiliar with doing IVs. If you have a little bit more advanced knowledge, then that would probably be the way to go. Or if you have someone in your group, or just having this stuff in general, in a SHTF true situation, having this stuff, because this stuff will disappear. Medical equipment will be huge sought after. This will be some of the most important stuff that people will be looking for, because sure, you can if you can make holes, you better learn how to patch holes as well. Hopefully you guys get that reference. Anyways, I thought this was kind of funny. I put World War III on this basket here, just because a lot of you folks are probably familiar with this. A lot of you folks out there in the emergency preparedness community have iodide tablets, you know what I mean, the KI pills, and they have a nice long shelf life as well. Again, like I said, do your research on this stuff like that. This stuff here, I did a video on this stuff before, back when there was a monkeypox threat, but also this is good for smallpox and monkeypox, anything in the pox family. But again, this is some good stuff here. I don't know if you can see the name on that. This is I sometimes I want to refrain from saying certain things because, you know, I know some folks out there will react, but that's why I'm kind of showing you so you can kind of do some research on that. But anyways, World War III stuff. This is stuff that's, you know, if they ever had that weaponized pox or something like that, these might be options for you. Nothing's foolproof, but it's better to have it than not have it. All right, teeth. This is going to be, did my wife put one on here? Because she was doing all the labeling for me, so I'm hoping it's all right. Dental. So we have our dental there. And this is kind of empty at the moment because I've been really trying to figure out what I want to put in here because I have lots of different dental gear in here, but I threw a few things in here to give you guys some ideas. Anything from, let's say, you know, from pain, because that's the last thing that people want to deal with is pain in the mouth during an emergency or an SHTF. They also have like these little kits here that have this pain medication that you can put on there to get in specific spots. Maybe a couple spare toothbrushes. If some of you folks that may have dentures, you know, having a denture repair kit. Also like something that you can fill crowns and stuff with. There's a lot of dental stuff that you can have. Now, I have a huge dental kit, but I wanted to show you guys this really fast. So inside this small dental kit, I'm going to remove this first here. This is like a little quick throw in your bag if you had to carry it, but it's a very small portable kit. And if you guys have ever seen one of these, I know it's a scary thing, but if you had to, having the right gear is going to save you a lot of headaches down the road because tooth pain is a showstopper, folks. Tooth pain is nothing to mess with if you've ever dealt with toothaches. Having tools to remove a bad tooth, and I don't, like I said, I don't suggest people do it without some sort of education and having information on how to do this stuff like that. I've watched people, friends of mine, literally use some of my gear in regards to pulling their own teeth, and it works well for them. But, you know, having the proper gear to do that is very important. All right, so I went ahead and opened this up so you guys can see it. You guys are probably familiar with some of the equipment in here to check your eyes, to check your ears, nose, and throat. Something that you would see at the doctor's office. This is a nice little small kit to do some triage work on someone. They may be feeling well, maybe you need to look at their throat, look inside their ears. It's just the same type of equipment that you would see like at a clinic or a doctor's office when you come in and get checked up. That's that kit there. Again, in here, this is just your standard blood pressure cuff. I figure I don't really need to pull it out. Standard, you know, blood pressure cuff. I have some automatic ones. I don't trust those as much as this because they take batteries. If you know how to use these, being in my field of work that I've done in the past, especially even in the military, taking someone's blood pressure is really easy once you know how. And of course, having a stethoscope to go with it comes hand in hand, which you usually see. But a stethoscope is another standard piece of equipment that most folks would be familiar with. This is just a quick grab-and-go first aid kit that I have here that just kind of can pull off this here just to have, just in case someone needs to do that, along with a couple of these other packs here. These are more extensive kits that I've kind of, I did reviews on these here from my medic. And what I did with these here is I packed a little bit more different stuff in there, added to what they had, what works for me. And that's the really big one over there in case we really had to go. As you can see, there's tourniquets and stuff on the outside of that bag there. But yeah, that's kind of hanging there in case I had to grab and go because I can't take all this stuff with me. So I need to have some emergency gear to take with me. There's some trauma stuff in there as well. But it's kind of like an all built in one kit to just grab. This is a spare CPR mask I have in case I ever have someone that's here in the home that you know, I might feel like it's a little bit risky to put my mouth on their mouth, kind of thing like that. And there's another device that you can use. I'll show you that, but it's a lot more advanced, I would say. But, you know, just little things that I have hanging around here. I figured, you know, it's readily accessible for some folks. And just taking a CPR class can definitely come in handy to save someone's life. Let's move down here past this shelf here. And again, I apologize for such a long video, but there's just so much here to go over. Isopure alcohol from the 70%. I got some 91, some 70, but the reason I use 70 is because pure alcohol is not going to do what you need it to do. Now, pure alcohol comes in handy, but 70%, if you ask your physician what's so special about that number, 70%, they'll explain it in more great detail than I'm going to do in this video. But I do have some 91, a couple bottles of those. Alcohol really never goes bad from my perspective. That is sterile saline solution right there. That you can use for IV bags or wound cleansing and stuff like that. I got some Medialyte. What else? That's a space blanket there. Don't know. I must have just set that there. We got some iodine solution back there. Like I said, you want to have lots of different gear to clean wounds, to if you're going to do any minor surgery. This is some of the stuff that's going to come in handy in regards to doing that stuff like that. I think there's some petroleum jelly there. We got a splint. What else do we got in this bag here? This is just kind of like a random. I think this is bandages. Yeah, it looks like a bandage here. Just a standard bandage. Stuck there. I don't know. What is this? This is a huge bandage here. What is that? A 4x4 bandage. What do we got here? And you can see how this is still kind of like a little bit disorganized, and that's why this is, like I said, it's in its infancy. And then we have some hydrogen peroxide on the shelf as well. Again, remember, hydrogen peroxide does have a shelf life over time. So the reason I stock a lot of hydrogen peroxide, because not only I use it for my medical preps, but I use it in the garden as well. And if some of you guys are interested, go ahead and put that down in the comments, and I can answer your questions, of course. In regards to what I was showing you earlier, this is a portable BVM. I'm going to try to get up close so you can see that. You've probably seen those in the movies or in an ambulance, or maybe you've gotten into a car accident or something like that. You've probably seen people use stuff like this. This is a portable BVM. It's a manual resuscitator, adult size. These, like I said, you'll see a lot of paramedics with these. This is a great company. You can get these. I think you might even be able to pick these up on Amazon if I recall correctly. But there's a purpose for this, and comes in very handy, especially trying to save someone's life. Down here, this is going to be a little bit of some of the redundancies. These are a lot of disposable masks, lots of cotton balls. Now back there, let's see, I wonder if I can get back there with this camera or not. Back there, you're going to see a lot of, these are needles or syringes, however you want to call them. There's a lot of different types of syringes here. Q-tips, a little ultrasonic nebulizer. Trying to come over here if you can kind of see that. I'm not going to be able to get in there. My apologies. But that's going to be a lot of your syringes and that type of gear over there, the excess that I have. We have a bucket of gloves. Now, this one is filled with my wife's sizes and my daughter's size hands. And those back there are my size. For the larger folks that have bigger hands like me with the XLs, a couple spare tourniquets that are kind of just laying here, some moleskin, which would be good for the feet. There's some foot powder there, some wipes down there, some antibacterial wipes for kind of clean off an area or a surface. This is going to be more of your gauze pads. Down here, some compression emergency bandages. Back there, let me see if I can get back there, some powder, some talc powder, foot powder. It's a big bulk of gauze. There's never enough gauze, folks. There's never enough sterile gauze. And then over here, this is a huge pack of compression bandages. You probably hear of the Israeli compression bandages. You probably heard of that term. You'll see them in a lot of IFACs and whatnot. But that's just a huge box of compression bandages. Just because stopping the bleed is a very big thing, folks. Like I said, you can bleed out in under 3 minutes. So knowing how to stop the bleed is very, very important. Having the proper trauma kits and stuff like this, but I'm not going to go too deep into that at the moment. But this just kind of gives you an idea of some of the overstock that I have here. And I just happen to notice I always keep a fire extinguisher in every room, because if a fire starts, you want to be able to protect your preps. So always having a fire extinguisher on hand in every room is going to be very beneficial to you folks out there. Well, all right, folks. So that's kind of give you a close-up look of my medical pantry and what I got going on so far. Like I said, it's in the beginning stages. I got a lot of work to do here. But what I hope to have done in this video is to spark some ideas and interest with you folks out there. If you're trying to do something similar, or build out a medical pantry or a medical supply room, or however that you want to do it, because that's what I really honestly need. Is I would need another extra room to put all the medical supplies that I do have. But I figured this would be a smart idea to have in the house in regards to having things that are readily accessible to me and my family. That's easily labeled, anybody read. If we have company over and I say, hey, I need you to go to my medical room, or my pantry room, excuse me, my medical pantry room, and I need you to grab me some stuff for burns. And so when they run in here, they could just look across there, oh, burns, and grab stuff really quick. Because when there's a medical emergency, the faster that you react, the better outcome things are going to be. So hopefully you folks, like I said, got some ideas. I'm really looking forward to hearing back from a lot of you folks in regards to what I'm doing here. Do you think it's a smart idea, or do you think it's just a waste of time and space that I should just put more food here? I just like to get some general ideas from you folks, because some folks may think this is a waste of time. I personally don't. I think it's a smart idea. And like I said, I wanted to share it with you, my viewers, to get your thoughts on, as well as what would you add, what would you remove, what kind of other medical gear would you have readily accessible to folks in your home, and that kind of stuff like that. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, I really appreciate it if you get it a thumbs up. I appreciate that. And if you're new here, please subscribe and check out the rest of the channel. Other than that, folks, remember, you are not alone. This is GreyMan. I'm out. I'll see you guys in a rebound, and God bless.